Okay, so we're going to dive into Ray Bradbury's classic, Fahrenheit 451, but probably not in the way you remember from school. To kick things off, I've actually got a few questions for you.
And I mean, really stop and think about it. When's the last time you weren't listening to something, watching a show, or scrolling through your feed? When was the last time it was just completely quiet?
Not trying to figure out your to-do list or what's for dinner, just sitting there, alone, with your own mind.
If that whole idea makes you feel a little squirmy, well, that's exactly why this book is maybe more important today than it ever was. It's not just some old story. It's basically a mirror.
Right. So most of us think this book is about one thing, burning books. But that kind of misses the bigger and honestly way more terrifying point of the whole story.
So here's the myth we all know. A big, bad government comes in and starts burning books. But the reality that Bradbury wrote about is much more subtle and much more chilling. It's about a world where people just willingly chose easy entertainment over hard thinking. The book burning wasn't the disease, it was a symptom. And that brings us to the real enemy in the story. And it's not a person, it's not a government. It's something way quieter, something that's all around us, right now.
This is it. This is the big warning, mental surrender. It's that little trade-off we make 100 times a day, right? Trading a moment of quiet for one more video, another notification, one more hit of something easy. We're choosing to be occupied instead of actually being present.
So the question wasn't just, what if books are illegal? It was something so much deeper. It was, what happens when a society gets so addicted to distraction that you don't even need to ban books? What happens when we just stop wanting to be wise? That's the real question at the heart of it all.
And Bradbury shows us this conflict so perfectly through two characters. They're like two totally different paths a person can take, two ways of being.
I mean, this contrast says it all. You've got Mildred, who's surrounded by noise and screens all day long, her family in the walls, but inside she's totally empty. Then you have Clarisse. She's not plugged into anything, but she's deeply connected to everything. She just pays attention. She's awake.
This is the question Clarisse asks Montag, the fireman. Just 3 simple words. And with that one little question, his entire numb existence just starts to crack. It's so powerful because in his world, nobody ever stops to ask something like that.
And this just nails one of the book's deepest truths. You can jam-pack every single second of your life with content and noise and stuff, but that doesn't actually mean you're living. Real life needs presence. And presence, well, it needs a little quiet.
Okay, now we get to one of the book's most challenging ideas. The thing that brought this society down wasn't a war or some evil dictator. It was something way more appealing.
See, the society in Fahrenheit 451 didn't choose to be oppressed. They chose to be comfortable, totally comfortable. And just look at what it cost them. By avoiding anything uncomfortable, a challenging book, an idea they didn't like, they stopped growing. By avoiding silence, they lost the ability to even know who they were. And by avoiding difficult ideas, they just became shallow. It's a terrifying deal, isn't it? Give up your depth, and we'll make sure you never have to think a hard thought again.
This is so important. The world in this book wasn't crushed from the outside. It just caved in on itself, quietly.
Yep. They were just offered something easier, something faster, something more entertaining than thinking, and they took the deal. They were seduced by the promise of a life with zero friction, and they gave up their minds to get it.
Sound a little familiar?
I mean, Bradbury had no idea about algorithms or infinite scroll, but he absolutely nailed the seductive power of distraction. These things right here, they aren't tools of oppression, they're engines of seduction, built to keep our minds fractured and shallow. And this is the terrifying conclusion. Why bother with force when you can make distractions so addictive that people just voluntarily check out of their own inner lives? The best prison, after all, is the one you never realize you're in.
But here's the good news. The book isn't just a grim warning. It's also a kind of map. It shows us there's a way back from the edge.
This is the glimmer of hope underneath all that fire and noise. It's talking right to us, right to anyone who maybe sees a little bit of Mildred in themselves sometimes.
That's the whole journey of Montag, the main character. He was totally numb, he was part of the machine, but he woke up. It was painful, it was messy, for sure, but he found his way back. And the book is telling us that path is always there for any of us.
So what does that path back even look like? Well, here it is. It's about making a bunch of small, conscious choices. Choosing silence over noise, Actually paying attention to the world, like Clarisse did. Asking those tough questions. Reading things that take time and effort. In a world that literally profits from our distraction, every single one of these is a small act of rebellion.
And in the end, this is the big takeaway. Your attention, your ability to think for yourself, your own inner world, that's the most valuable real estate you have. And in a world that wants to constantly strip mine it for profit, protecting it is a radical act.
So, I'll just leave you with this final thought. In a world that is literally engineered to keep us distracted, isn't picking up a book, choosing to focus, isn't that more than just reading? Isn't it maybe one of the most essential, almost sacred things we can do to stay human?